Hey, just another quick vlog. Hopefully this one won't take very long, but it's kind of the elephant in the room. I've got a bunch of these little topics like this that, you, as martial artists, I didn't think about some of these for many years, but some of them, have been around in our little group, PSP group for a while, but, this is one that I think has been around since the beginning, which is, I've started to refer to what I do as working man's Silat. And, this isn't to, anyway, to me, it's more about the time availability. So I'm sensitive to people's time, and I'm sensitive to what I can expect from them given that amount of time. And so one of the things that I think we often overlook is how much time we actually have for training. So, as a system, one of the things I do to help mitigate that is focus on strong side training. Now, this doesn't mean that we don't train both sides. We do. We train both sides. But when it comes to actually fighting, if you wanted to just focus on the ability to protect yourself, then my recommendation is always to only work on your strong side for those things that come naturally, and on the weak side for those things that come naturally. Anything that's considered a support component will generally happen naturally without a lot of extra effort. So for example, if I strike with my right hand, it's not usually very complicated or difficult for me to also then be able to parry, or I'll say block, but I don't really block, but parry with my left hand. That basically for me is one of the primary elements of PSP, is that no matter what sided you are, if you're right side on this, left side on that, left side on this, right side on that, or you're all right side or all left side, PSP will accommodate you, and it will accommodate you in the majority of situations. When I say majority, I really honestly think it can do all of them, but I've never encountered all of situations, so I have to be honest about that. What it does do is it gives you the tools to be adaptable and variable, and to figure shit out. And why is that necessary? People will tell you all the time that, oh, you don't want to have, you got to develop your left hand, you got to develop your right hand, whatever it is. My God, I think I got hugely attacked by a mosquito or something. My arms are like itching like crazy. But I break it down really simply. And I'm going to give you another example at the end. But for people who have never thought about this before, think about it like this. What's the average amount of time that you train every week? Every week. Let's assume you never take a week off. There's 52 weeks in a year. Let's just assume this. Let's assume the average person trains a couple of hours. Now, whether that couple of hours is 2 classes a week or 1 class a week, and let's maybe even assume they practice, let's say, another 2 hours on their own. So let's make it 5. We'll keep it really easy. So 5 hours a week. They practice 1 hour a day, which could be training or it could be actual practice. So learning or skill development, as Oleg refers to it. That's a shout out. So let's assume that happens. You have 52 weeks in a year. You're spending 5 hours. So what is that going to give you? It's going to give you 260 hours of training if you work 5 days a week, 1 hour a day, right? So I'll let you do the math, but let's assume you have 50 skills you want to learn. So we'll make it even easier. You have 52 skills you want to learn. So if we broke those down evenly, which nobody does, but let's assume this because we got to have numbers here to work with. You're going to have 5 hours max that you spend on any particular skill. development. And this includes your learning time as well. So if it's a class or 2 a week, you're going to take that and basically, let's assume, divide it in half. And then on top of that, you're going to practice this skill because it's so exciting and you've got this new skill you're going to learn. So you take that skill, you divide it, that training time of 5 hours between your 52 things. And you know, we can assume if you want that those 52 things are really 26 things between left and right side, if you want to go that way. So if you practice, you know, 26 things, and you're going to get 2.5 hours, 2 hours of instruction, 2.5 hours of instruction, you're going to get about 3 hours of actual skill development time with those things per side. Now, if you take a strike that sucks, you know, a left-handed hook punch for you is horrible, let's say. If you take that left-handed hook punch and you try to develop it, you're going to use extra time out of that time allotment you have. It's just going to take that much. So what does that mean? Well, that means that your strong side is not going to get as much development time. It's not going to get the skills it could have because you've squandered it trying to develop a skill on another side that's never going to be as good anyway. So, you know, just putting that out there. So the way that PSP is set up, we try to consider that and in all things. And so we make things simple and we reduce. So we're an art of reduction, the working man Silat. And the thing that I would add to this is that to further kind of get you thinking is that, you know, a lot of us see these guys out here in martial arts land who are putting videos up, you know, or Muay Thai guys or boxers or UFC guys, and we think, oh man, that jiu-jitsu guy, he's badass, I'm totally going to do that. And so you start studying jiu-jitsu, and that's cool. Like, I am, whatever, if that's your thing, do it well. But here's the deal. That guy who trains, who teaches full-time, and he's good enough, he's out doing seminars and videos and stuff, he's getting probably on average, you know, 2 to 3 to 5 hours a day. Let me just put it this way, of training. Let me put it this way. A professional boxer trains 3 to 5 hours a day. Now, granted, we're gonna work through this. I understand that it's boxing, it's not martial arts, okay? Here's the thing though. It's a limited skill set. Let's say, you know, it's 5 or 6 strikes. Let's say it's 5 or 6 things of footwork, types of footwork. You know, shuffle, sidestep, lead step, drag, whatever, all this stuff, right? You have your evasions, which is your, you know, your slip, your bob and weave, and, you know, maybe a tuck. You know, it just depends on who's calling it what. So you have these limited set of materials, and these guys are training 3 to 5 hours a day as a professional boxer. To beat a guy who trains 3 to 5 hours a day, and these guys have a parameter that's only this big. Like, you can't punch them in the thigh, you know? There's only a little window of place where you can strike this guy, right? Yet they spend this much time developing their skills. So I'm just, you know, I put that out there because, you know, you have these guys who are able to spend much more time than you and I ever will spend on their given martial art, and they look phenomenal and they look awesome. But I ask you, do you have the time that they are spending on it to invest the same way that they do? If you don't, do you think you might be chasing a rainbow?